So I reluctantly met with the nutritionist. She's the one who said potatoes aren't bad, bananas aren't bad. I learned so much about food, and it was fantastic. And the therapist was fantastic. So I lost over 10 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 22 pounds. And when I went back to the medical doctor, she couldn't believe that with my history at my age that I was actually being successful and losing weight at the right pace, which wasn't too fast. And she said, okay, you've lost 22 pounds, that's fantastic. I really didn't think you could do it. Now let's talk about what's next. She said, at this point, I would like you to think about surgery. And I was freaked out. I think I started crying because I felt like I failed again. I thought I was succeeding, and now I'm being told this isn't good enough. Now you have to have surgery. I said, but I don't want to have surgery. Why can't I keep doing this? I've lost 22 pounds, I'm being successful. Why can't we just keep doing this? And she said, the truth is, at your age, with the amount of weight you still have to lose, which is over 100 pounds, statistically, the deck is stacked against you. The stats are that it will come back. To keep it off, because your body is so accustomed now to being 130 pounds overweight, you would have to be in the gym 4 hours a day to be able to keep the weight off. And so statistically, it's your choice, but I'm just telling you what the reality is. At that point, there were two procedures that people were really talking about, and that was the gastric bypass and the band. I was terrified of the gastric bypass because I knew people who had had it, and while very effective, I knew that it was a big reworking of your insides, and that scared me. The band I knew a little bit about too. I didn't like the idea, for me, of having something artificial in my body, although having it be reversible was attractive. So I met with the nutritionist at that point, and I told her about the options that I was considering, and she said, well, what about the sleeve? It doesn't change the way your body metabolizes food. It reduces your size of your stomach, as I later learned from my surgeon, from a fully inflated football for normal people after Thanksgiving dinner to the size of a banana. You can eat the same foods that you eat now, pretty much. You can enjoy a cocktail, a glass of wine, all things that with a gastric bypass were described as not being available options. Once I decided to go with a sleeve, I told no one about this. And there were all these procedures that you had to have an endoscopy, a colonoscopy. I had to have a stress test, and because I was so heavy, I couldn't just do it on a treadmill. I had to have it in the hospital, lying down with a recumbent bike to be tested. But I told no one I was doing this. And then they called me to schedule me, and I was like, oh no, and I had all these reasons why not to do it, like Thanksgiving. Nope, I'm having my last Thanksgiving dinner. Christmas, are you kidding me? So then we finally settled on January, and I still didn't tell anybody. I think I looked at it as a failure on some level, that I had to have surgery, that I couldn't do this on my own, that I was so weak, I had to resort to surgery, and I was ashamed. And I thought that people would think that that was horrible. So then in the week leading up to the surgery, I had an absolute revelation that as I actually told people that I was going to do this, there was an outpouring of support and love that I had never experienced and never expected. And it was just transformational. However, the surgery itself still terrified me. I was not ready. And in the weekend before, there's a fasting, like a clear liquid, I think, that you're doing the 3 days before surgery. And during that period, I really thought, I'm not going to do this. Talked to my husband. He said, don't do it. He was very scared of surgery. Didn't want me to change anything inside my body. Just thought that was a horrible idea. Talked to my daughter. She was at college, and she said, no, do it, Mom. This is going to be great. It's going to be fine. You're going to do fine. Do it, do it, do it. I talked to my therapist over the weekend and said, I don't think I can do this. She said, you can do it. You can do it. But literally, I went into the operating room thinking, this is not my choice, but everybody seems to think this is what I should be doing. So here we go, for better or for worse. So immediately after the surgery, I just was so happy I had woken up, so happy to be alive and that I had made it. My surgeon told me that they'd also done a hiatal hernia repair while he was in there, and he had discussed up front that that might be something they would do. So hernia repair actually produced more pain after in recovery than the sleeve part, but I did have pain. I was kind of out of it the first day, sleeping and having the morphine. But I say that, and the doctors remind me that I was up walking the halls, because they do make you walk the halls with the walker. I remember doctors coming in to see me, and my therapist came and visited, my regular internist, and they both remarked on how fantastic I looked. So I took 6 weeks off of work, which was what the maximum that the surgeon's office signed me out for. My whole life, I'd never really had any time for myself. And clearly, I had never really addressed the weight issue in any comprehensive way. So I looked at the 6 weeks off of work as a time to really be able to focus on all aspects of my recovery. I did everything that I was supposed to do in terms of my visits with a therapist. I started on an exercise program as soon as I was allowed, which was immediate. I was allowed to stroll on the treadmill, and I followed the 6-week transition program, which starts with clear liquids and then graduates to liquid soups, and then finally pureed foods like mashed potatoes, and then by week 6, which just seemed like nirvana, a salad and steak cut up. I gave up pasta and bread for 6 months, and it really was great because I found out that I can still enjoy them. I just don't enjoy them in any kind of volume anymore.